Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. So, I just beat Paper Mario Color Splash on the Wii U. And most people were pretty hyped for this in terms of it being sort of near the end of the Wii U lifespan. But some people were saying it was too similar to things like the past few Mario RPGs that came out that involved cards. I forget which ones were which. I know Super Mario RPG was the first Super Mario RPG ever. And then they started doing like Game Boy Advance ones, Mario and Luigi something or other, and then there was like Star something. They were all different ones that got a little less away from the RPG formula and a little more towards like timing and I think like using cards and stuff like that. So people, the 7-Year Door was one of them, I think. So people were mixed on this game, but I think overall positive. If you were to ask me. But I thought this game was amazing. And I just wanted to talk about it for a minute because I just beat it the other day. So, the game was probably about 30 to 40 hours, I'd say. And the graphics are awesome. It looks like paper. It looks actually like paper. So, sort of like the way Woolly World and what I would assume Kirby pulls off, where Kirby looks like clay. Woolly World looks like real yarn. This looks like real paper, and I think it was just a really great looking rendition of like a Paper Mario game. The thing is that, like I said, turned people off was their cards. So you collect cards, you collect paint, and you have to paint the cards. So you have to always make sure you have enough paint. And then also when you use a card, you can't just use it and that's it, the move is over. You have to use a timing thing and like push A when you're jumping on the character and hit it at the right moments to keep extending the hits or to make the hits harder. That's sort of the gist of it. The story is that Bowser comes down to this place called Port Prisma. It's like Prisma Island. He comes down and he sucks all the color out of the place and steals all the stars, and they end up in different places and you have to find them all, get all the stars back together. There's 7 of them. Get them all back together. They're all different colors, and then get the power to go up and beat Bowser. That's pretty much the gist of it. The game has some excellent humor. Really funny. Luigi makes a bunch of cameo appearances. Very funny. There's a lot of inside jokes, a lot of fourth wall breaking jokes about video games and the characters themselves. There's Mario Kart references. There's this paint can named Yui. He's on the front cover here. He helps you throughout the adventure. He's kind of like your partner in crime. He talks to you and gives you hints. He's the one who carries all the paint, and he'll tell you how to beat something, or if you don't have something that you need to beat something. I'll show you the back of the box, but I don't really think these screenshots are the best in terms of showing you how the game looks. You really should play it for yourself to see how beautiful of a game it is, especially on the Wii U. I was very impressed because I know the Wii U compared to like the Xbox One and the PS4 isn't as strong, nearly as strong. I think it's more in terms of the PS3 and the 360, and it just looked really great. You can also play it with the gamepad, which was great if I wanted to play the game while we were watching a movie or something, which is always a plus. So most of it involves, like I said, collecting the cards, fighting battles, getting these stars. There's mini stars, but really what you want is the big stars. You collect the mini stars to open up more of the map, and then you go and continue your quest to get the big stars. The best part about the game for me was no level feels the same. The basics are the same in terms of the fighting and the collecting the paint, collecting the cards and the stars. However, each level always has this kind of cute sort of gimmick to it. One level is a game show you have to play. It was really hard actually. The boss fights are all pretty different, so that's kind of cool. The only thing about the boss fights I didn't like, which was the only turn-off for me in this game, was there's special cards that represent things in real life. So a camera, a turnip, a fire extinguisher, and you have to get these cards and wring them out and use them in battle. That's what you do. You wring them out and make them into cards and then use them in battle to do something. Every boss needs to have a specific card against him for him to die. So you'll fight a boss, he'll light something on fire, and if you don't have the fire extinguisher card, you're out of luck. You lose the battle and you die. You have to start over. So the only thing I didn't like was that you have to really make sure you go back and get these cards or these things, they're called things, and ring them out and turn them into cards so that you can use these specific ones for bosses. You can use them in other battles as well and just really chip away at bosses or beat enemies in like one hit, but your best bet is kind of saving a lot of them for boss fights. I did have to use a walkthrough on a couple of the cards because I missed them completely, or I didn't know if I had certain items that I needed to get to a boss fight. I didn't want to get like through a whole level, get to the boss fight, and then die and go, okay, well, I'm missing a card I need. But every level is really different, you know, in terms of the layouts and what you have to do. There's just lots of really interesting kind of things. One level, you're on a pirate ship and you have to shoot things in the distance, and then there's like a map with like a secret to it, and you have to kind of follow it in terms of where you have to turn and where you have to go. So just, it feels so different that even though the mechanics are always sort of the same, the levels are so different that it brings such a cool feeling to the game while you're playing it, because you don't know what you're going to encounter next. One level, you jump into a video game. This was actually a really good one, so I'm kind of spoiling it for people, so I apologize. You jump into a Mario, I think it's Super Mario 1 or 2 rendition, and you're now Paper Mario in the old version of Mario, but you can manipulate the game to look 3D and then like walk around different areas that exist in the background. So that's really cool. They do stuff like that in like every level. The other thing they did that I really liked was, and on top of all these mechanics I'm speaking of, you can push, I think it's Y, I always mix up X and Y on the Wii U controller. If you push Y, you can cut things out in the background and sometimes use a card to do something. Like there's one part where there's a lighthouse you need to re-energize, so you get a light bulb and you have to use a card in a certain position on the lighthouse. But sometimes there's just things you can cut out and manipulate to get from point A to point B, or open up a secret area and like Luigi pops out and gives you something. There's lots of like hidden things in the game that you can do in terms of cutting things out. So between the humor, the gameplay, the story was pretty generic in a way. The ending was sort of disappointing, but you know, it does wrap everything up. I would give this game like a 9. I think besides the story being, could have maybe been a little better in terms of the ending, and in terms of having these specific cards you need to fight bosses, I thought the game was near perfect. I really enjoyed it. I haven't played a Mario RPG since Super Mario RPG, which I never beat, but I played with a friend at his house years and years ago when I was a kid. And I just thought the mechanics were great. I thought that the game was great, the graphics, the sound. It was very like whimsical and fun, but it had some kind of adult type jokes in it. Oh, there's one level that was really good. You go into a haunted house. It's sort of a haunted hotel. It almost looks like Luigi's Mansion in a sense, and you have to like use your paint to paint all these ghosts so that you can see them, and then you have to help them solve little mysteries. As I said, different characters make appearances like Yoshi and Luigi and tons of Toads. So if you were sort of on the fence with this, I would say this is like a must purchase for the Wii U. I thought this was phenomenal. One of my favorite games, hands down, by Nintendo and on the Wii U. So check out Paper Mario Color Splash if you haven't. It's been on sale recently for around $39.99, which I think is a great deal. So thanks guys for watching. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.